Good evening. Welcome to the Thursday, April 20th, Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. Mr. Chairman, the time is now 6:01.
Awesome.
We have a quorum.
Thanks, Tom. We will call to order and a roll call for today's Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. Sound off if you are here. Jason Alberici.
Here.
Phil Cranmer. Not. Morgan Van Gelder.
Here.
Allison Catula. Not here. Myself, Stephanie Butler.
Here.
And Joey Costanza.
Here.
Okay, next we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in front of you is today's meeting agenda, and I've been asked to consider moving new business item 8A to follow item number 4.
I'll make a motion to move A above public comment.
Okay, a motion by Joey. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next, item 4 is the approval of the past meeting minutes that are in front of you. Prepared well by staff. If there are no comments, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the March 16th minutes.
A motion by Joey. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. One abstention and the rest no disapproval. So moved. The meeting minutes are approved. Let's move now to item 8A in new business, discussion of potential new Bollywood themed Zumba recreation program. Is that you, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
So kind of how it all started was so Miss Perry, who's our dance instructor. She actually had a person that was interested in potentially offering a new fitness class. And this is her right here. Her name is Yeproxana. She does like a it's like a Bollywood theme. Zumba class. So she's going to talk more about that right now.
Oh. Yeah.
This link will work without your laptop.
Okay.
My name is Ruxana Alam, and I'm a Bollywood Bombay Jam instructor, got certified in 2018. And from then on, I've been doing, we had a kind of like a workout place. I and my partner and I had a place, and we used to do the whole class and stuff. But then COVID happened and we closed it. And then I used to do it on Zoom. And then once the COVID returned, then I started doing in Alpharetta City in the community center. So the whole program, the reason why I like Bombay Jam is because it's like a full body workout. It's you will go through the cardio, and then there will be toning part too. So there will be like a arm exercise, abs exercise, and a leg exercise. So it goes through the whole body workout, and it has combination of Bollywood and Hollywood music, and it will have some signature moves also. So whoever comes, they can learn all the signature moves in addition to doing the workout too. So a lot of steps will be, okay, lunge or this and that, but it will also incorporates some good moves also. So that's why I like it. And it has a lot of, in Zumba, I attended a lot of Zumba classes, and I found because it was not queuing a lot, so I couldn't follow. But in our class in Bombay Jam, there's a lot of queuing. So whoever participants are coming, they are not lost. Like, okay, move here, move there. So it's a lot of helpful cues there. So that's all the introduction is like, and you can burn around like 800 calories if you do like the whole class in 1 hour. So that's also a good thing. And I recently got certified for a same class but for a seniors. So they have so you can have for seniors also, because they cannot move or jump. So there's like a senior Bombay Jam certification too.
Restaurant is playing that music.
Concert on.
Green.
Oh, real loud.
It's the cornhole night on the green, Thomas.
Yeah, it's not us, but sounds like.
I have my presentation on the phone. Yeah, I did email it to.
I remember when we didn't have computers for presentations this meeting. I'll harken back to a easier day. We had reams of paper and. No, that's all right. Anybody who's watching at home, we're working through some technical.
Little luck. Got it up here.
You got it.
We don't yet. Running through. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Logo, and there's the introduction is that ultimate Bollywood dance fitness is like a total body workout, and with a lot of Bollywood and Western Hollywood and Bollywood music, but mostly it is Bollywood. There are a lot of Hollywood music too. So this is their tagline. Our tagline is the explosively fun in a globally appealing Bollywood culture. It's a total body workout, which is effective, safe, and easy to follow because there's a lot of cueing, which will help the participants to follow the instructions. So we do have cardio and toning routines. So as I mentioned, the toning routines as for arms, legs, and abs. And then, so we go from cardio 1, like low to high, and then back to low. And then we do our toning and then cool down. And it has the custom music mixes, which is the hottest Bollywood tracks, and also some American top 40 songs. And it is accredited by AFAA. My certification, which I have it on 2018, and recently I got for the seniors Bombay Jam instructor. Small video, which is talking about
Hi guys, it's Danalay with the Sweat Report, and I'm here in the South Bay at Bombay Jam, which is a class at the Mona Khan Company. We're going to learn a little bit about Bollywood dancing, so come with me. So we just finished our class with Bombay Jam. I'm here with Rena, program director at Bombay Jam, and oh my God, you guys, that was so much fun, number one, but also so much cardio. I was like, I'm clearly drenched in sweat, and I was like struggling to keep up. So first and foremost, tell us about Bombay Jam. I'd love to hear from your words. It was so much fun.
I'm so glad you had a good time. It was so great to have you. So Bombay Jam is kind of our take on Bollywood fitness. Bollywood is filled with what we call masti. Masti is like the Hindi term for just fun. You know, lots of fun. And of course, everything in India is full of dance. So it's like dance-filled fun. And so this is our kind of take on making that into a workout. So it's great because we did the cardio segment. They're now going into the toning segment, which we get all the big muscle groups, the arms, legs, the abs. And so you walk away feeling like you just partied for an hour.
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, my body actually got a great workout. So
how did you like get involved in Bombay Jam? Like, where did this even come from? Like, it's such a cool experience.
Yeah. So our parent company is the Mona Khan Company, and it is a Bollywood dance company.
Okay.
So we started out, we are a dance company, and then we had this need for fitness alongside with it. We have people who want to come, want to dance, but don't want to have to go home and learn choreography and study it and come back. They want to come in and just dance and then walk out, forget about it, go about their day, and come again the next day and do it all over again.
Yeah.
So that's literally how we started a fitness program.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I guess, what would you tell a newbie if it was their first time and they're considering taking a class? What would you say?
I'd say bring a towel because
Yes.
you will sweat.
That is the truest thing I've heard all morning. Yes, absolutely.
And while sweat is the best costume for a Bollywood workout class, bring a towel. And then I would say, come just being able to shed your inhibitions, shed everything.
Here. And the sweat part also, I have a lot of participants that come in, and first they will be like during winter also they'll be like wearing jacket and stuff, and then it is AC, and then after 1 or 2 songs they'll start and to strip off, and they'll just start sweating. And they'll, I never sweat, and this is the class where I'm like the second song and I'm just started sweating. So there's a lot of sweat, a lot of cardio. So yeah, I think that's all. And I think there is one more slide which has go back. Sorry, but how do I go
It's
back
on
to
the
the slide?
on the Google Chrome.
Oh,
Let's say if you go to the bottom of the page, like to the left, there's a little like arrow that's pointing to the right. Right
the
there,
next
yeah.
slide. the main information about like what it is. The minimum participant can be 4 and the maximum, it depends on the space. If we have big space, there can be many. But I saw the place where we have, so maybe like 20, 25 can fit in there. And the pricing will be 25 per hour. And I can take 1 hour class once per week because I do take class at the Alpharetta Community Centers also. So we can start with that. And I just put it there because I have a planned trip from May 25th to June 7th. Other than that, I will be available during the summer and fall. That's the last slide.
Awesome. Where, Matt or Tom, where would you see this program getting housed?
So obviously, I met with her a couple months ago, like over at the Milton Community Center. So I'm believing that would be probably the best spot right now.
Gotcha. Other questions for Roxana?
Yeah, the only question I had was it had $25 a session. That's not typically to package things up. Like is a, you'd buy for 2 months or 3 months, and is that the
Yeah, that's
plan?
okay too.
But to do something,
Yeah,
that would be,
yeah.
you know, hey, it's
So-
3 months of this.
Yeah.
once a
So
week, and
obviously,
it's-
yeah. So obviously, this is just like because I did some research around this area, and there's really not any like a Bollywood theme like class like this. So there's not really a price range, I guess. So
Yeah, I was thinking more from our structure of how we
Yeah,
would take a
exactly. Oh, yeah.
registration.
It'd be
Yeah.
6 weeks, 150.
Yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's,
I don't know, it seems fun.
yeah, seems great.
Yeah.
Do you just need a motion to move forward from the board?
Continue discussions as usual. The usual motion for a program provider.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there questions?
No, I don't have it. Morgan?
I'll make a motion that we continue to move forward and try to get a program for Bombay Jam.
Motion by Jason to direct staff to move forward. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
And I apologize for those technical difficulties.
Quite all right. We'll hold it against you. Next item is back to the agenda is number 5, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Tom? Okay. So public comment is a no. We'll move into committee reports. And we can begin. Got a slide for that, or you want to?
We do.
And
I'm
then
pulling
you're
it up
gonna-
now. I have to toggle back to the
Yeah.
original presentation.
And some stuff to share, right? Go to committee reports. You want to share with me some Hopewell baseball top line story?
I'm sorry?
Do you have some Hopewell baseball?
Yes. So Hopewell baseball is going well. We are, Thomas, are we still awaiting the registration numbers from this season? Yes.
Correct, yeah. Okay.
Overall, the season's going smoothly. Numbers are up as usual, another uptick. And we're using Hopewell Middle School at this point,
Wow.
starting this weekend because of all the field use. And that's with Legacy also being packed. So
Yep.
with those 2 fields there. So baseball's still strong and moving along. Anything
Great.
else to add, Thomas?
No?
Awesome. We'll move to youth lacrosse.
All's season's going well. Another 2 weeks or so before they start to wrap it up, first week of May. second week of May, probably through the end of it, with the playoffs and things, but all has been going well.
And Eagle Sticks doesn't start till this weekend for the first practice, so it's not
Yeah.
even
Summer,
worth. Yeah, it's nothing.
summer.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Stephanie, football.
Yeah, I talked to Vaughn today. He is very happy with his fields. He did ask if the city would do another social media post when rec baseball is over, because nobody's thinking about football right now.
Not yet, at least.
But registration is open, and he would just be appreciative of that post.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Great. Basketball.
All was well with Kim. I didn't, exchanged a couple messages with him. We didn't get a chance to talk, but there was not a lot going on.
Good. Let's go to swim team, Morgan.
May 7th is their parent initiation
Great.
day. And then practices start May 15th.
In a cold pool. How is registration over there? You know, Tom?
I personally do not. Have you heard from Beth or Stephanie?
I haven't heard if they're
I think
full-
they're projecting same number. I don't know the exact number right now, but they're projecting it.
right
capping
at
out.
that 200.
Yeah, for now.
Beth still running it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Moving to tennis.
I have no update on them.
Same update as always.
Not enough courts.
Courts are packed and with the leagues that he can run out of them.
Yeah.
And all is well.
Okay. The next three items were, since we're missing Phil, Thomas, you got some insight for us on programming, arts, adult, and
I can
For
speak to
camps?
adult if Matthew wants to speak
Yeah.
to art.
yep. Sorry.
No, you're good. Arts, so we got the weekly dance classes going on right now for spring, the weekly art classes, and the weekly Tai Chi classes going on as well too. We are taking registration for the stretch class, and then the summer, and the summer programs as well too right now. And then the mindfulness like with the sloth class is coming up soon as well too. And right now we got 16 people signed up for that class on May 13th right now.
Awesome.
I just had a question, because I think I saw him out there. I don't know what it's called. It's like bocce ball, but with little metal balls.
Oh,
He
Penang?
gave, huh?
Tunk.
Yes. Are they up and running and going?
They are.
And,
They had their first official league, I guess you will, was the Winter League. That wrapped up a couple weeks ago. They had 4 participants, so hoping to gain numbers there. But yeah, they're enjoying themselves at Bell.
Yeah.
Getting some great use out of that back parking lot when we don't need it for overflow parking. And then Rush Union continuing to find success as well at Legacy Park. They're in their spring season right now. Soon as it wraps, they'll go right into a summer season. So continuing to make both 7-versus-7 league and 11-versus-11s.
Excellent. Good.
To add a little bit, just in regards to, we've gotten this far into the season, and I think this is a good sign. We haven't heard a lot of issues with fields at all. This time last year we had, and so this is a good thing. And whoever is on, and on Monday, when do we do practice? Monday and Wednesdays, whoever's cooking hamburgers at Bell Park smells delicious. But I have to go coach. And the girls are dying to eat them, so it's funny. Yeah.
Okay. What's the last on there? Joyful Souls?
We do have a slide for our summer camps. I don't know if we can pull that up, but Camp Joyful Souls, all 7 weeks are 30 out of 30. We've created wait lists, I think, for 1 through 6. Week 7 doesn't have any wait listers yet. But yeah, we're full. Continuing the process of bringing on our staff, looking to complete that process very soon with HR. Still looking for volunteers and CITs, counselors in training. But Camp Joyful Souls is now all we're just waiting for June now as far as camp.
Awesome.
Excellent. That's great.
Perfect.
Yeah, for the summer camp, we have 4 weeks that are fully booked, and there's 1 week there's 10 kids on the waiting list.
15 now.
Oh, it's 15 now. Sorry. And then also as well as the other weeks, there are in the 30 range right now. Recently, we hired the summer camp manager along with the summer camp lead. The summer camp manager, she is set to begin this coming Monday, and then she'll be working part-time, just getting stuff ready. And then once camp hits, she'll be full-time. We are still looking for camp counselors. So if you know of any people that are looking for summer jobs, please send them my way. Thank you.
Or if they have friends.
Or other friends.
Super. Thanks, Matt. What are we next to? Unfinished business, of which we got none listed? Correct. Should the legacy wall be dragged around on unfinished business for nothing to do?
I'm sorry.
Should the legacy wall be dragged along on the agenda for unfinished business?
The legacy wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tabled it.
It's just,
We just,
okay. So we just don't have to keep reporting it.
yeah, I don't think there was really any updates from
Okay.
the last.
No. I got it. Item 8, new business then. We will move to 8B, discussion on parks capital projects.
And for this, we'll have Assistant City Manager Bernadette Harville kick us off, and then it'll be kind of a joint presentation between the both of us.
Good
Awesome.
evening, board members.
Hey.
A moment. It knows I'll be very upset if it doesn't. Okay, I have a Excel spreadsheet and a PDF that we're going to go over. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you this evening. Tom and I have been working on a presentation for council. If you've been following along with our council meetings, you'll know that we are having additional council feedback this year for our budget process, and we're starting really early in the season. We are going to be going over all of the capital projects with them that have these larger master plans that we kind of approved several years ago. The two that we're going to talk about tonight are from 2018, 2019. And we want to bring that back before the council to show them all of the items that have been completed to date and what is remaining to be completed with some project estimates, because of course, prices have certainly changed since 2018, 2019. And this evening, Tom and I thought it would be an important decision to be in front of you all, to have your input on your priorities for these parks, so we can bring that to them as well when we discuss that. So this is what we presented to council last Monday to show them what we'd be asking of them. So this Monday, we're going to be going over Providence Park as well as Milton City Park and Preserve, active and passive. And then on May 1st, we'll be going over Birmingham Park trails, as well as the trail prioritization plan. We're going to be asking them to categorize their feedback based upon red, yellow, green, which would be removing it from the plan regardless of costs. That's maybe an item they just don't want to do. Yellow would be up for consideration depending upon the cost or other considerations, maybe moving that item to another facility or something like that. And green would be keep it in the plan, and we'll set the prioritization schedule with council at the May 8th work session. This evening, we're going to be asking the Parks and Rec Advisory Board to be doing a 1, 2, 3 prioritization. And I will show you that in a minute, what that's going to look like. We're going to show the Providence Park master plan phasing. This is the pricing according to the original master plan. You'll see here in blue the items that have been partially completed to date, and in green, fully completed at Providence Park. We have the rendering of the plan as what's being currently carried out. Then we have the Milton City Park and Preserve active master plan phasing. Concept A is complete. We know that the informal kitchen still has something to be looked at, so we're kind of moving that into concept B for them. And we'll talk about that again tonight. So as far as, for all intents and purposes, concept A is complete. Then we have concept C and the rendering for that final build out of that park. And then we're going to talk about the master plan phasing for the passive side. Sarah has already been before them, our public works director, for some guidance, and this has been rephased already, but I just wanted to show you all that we will be talking about that once more at that meeting. So this evening, we would like to go through with this board. And I'll have Tom probably do the majority of the talking here, but as you can see, these are the feedback categories we are looking for this evening. If I can make it a little bigger without losing that for you. If you give it a category 1, that would be a high priority. This board would like to see this item addressed within the next 1 to 3 year timeframe. If you give it a priority 2, that's a moderate priority for this board, saying that you'd like to see it, but it could be pushed out for 4 to 8 years. And then 3 would be a low priority. Basically, we're not really interested in having this in the plan any longer. We recommend removing it from the plan. Is there any other categories? Is that decent for everyone? Good enough category? Okay. So you will see here the 2018 plan estimates that Tom pulled straight from the master plan. Then you'll see his updated current cost estimates for those same exact projects based upon information he has to date and his best ability to project what it might cost to build that out today. So Tom, if you want to take it away, I'll type in numbers as you go over these with the board.
All right, sure. So in this phase 1, there's several different components that go into that phase. The first one we have is the stream alignment and dam repair. That is over on the east side of the quarry. There is a stream that runs pretty close to where that quarry is, and at some point in time, that stream breached and created a waterfall feature essentially into the quarry. And as time has gone on, that's continued to erode. And part of the master plan called for a like a performance green down in the quarry. And in order to have a performance green, we needed to get rid of the water source that was feeding it, and it basically restores the stream back to its original route. So that's what that stream alignment and dam repair item is. We should probably rip through all of them first, Bernadette, and then we can kind of prioritize after that. The second one is pretty simple. It's just the natural surface trails. We did already kind of complete the ADA asphalt trail, or a variation of what was in the master plan. So this would be to finish the natural surface trails that were called out in the master plan as well. The third is an all-inclusive playground. This all-inclusive playground really has never, it's in several master plans, as a matter of fact. And the eventual home of that inclusive playground potentially hasn't really been set. But in this master plan, it calls for one as well. And that $800,000 number is probably pretty accurate as to where we are right now. Updated fence around the quarry. That is more of a beautification project more than anything else. Every time I go to Providence Park and see that fence, the fence is okay. It's chain link. It might not fit that, Milton-esque look per se, but it is functional, and it does keep folks out of the quarry. It's really tall and secures the space. And really for the majority of your time in the park, you don't see it, unless you're really walking down that road or right at the end of the asphalt road. You can kind of see it on the right there, but the majority of your time at Providence, if you're walking around, you really don't see it. Wetland improvements, that was a piece. It's more for the edge of the lake, essentially, to plant some native species around the edge of the lake. And then the parking lot update and resurface, that was to just update the parking lot that's currently there. It really needs to be done anyway. It's in need of replacement, essentially. In phase 2, the parking lot area expands and grows, and it increases parking. The 900-foot open air quarry overlook, that was part of the master plan to overlook the green. It would be kind of like the northwest side. If you're familiar with Providence Park, there's a gate that you can walk from right by the asphalt driveway. It's on the right. There's a gate. That's the approximate location of a quarry overlook. It's like a 900 square foot, just so you could overlook and see the quarry on the edge there. The performance green is exactly what it would sound like. We would get rid of all the trees and all the swamp down there, dry it out. Once the remediation would be done, it would dry out, and then we could get rid of all the trees and put like a little green area down there. The 6,500 square foot nature center, that is located very close in the master plan to where the old lodge was. Again, at the end of that driveway on the left. that would be an opportunity for us to, do some recreation programming out there, some outdoor education, more programming essentially, and another location for restrooms as well. Dredging of the lake. The dredging of the lake would allow us to maybe do some better recreational opportunities. Right now, the water is very shallow, and if we, dredged part of it, it would allow for more wildlife, fish. It would aerate the water a little bit and provide more opportunities for nature to return, essentially. The wetland boardwalk, that is a boardwalk that extends over on the northeast side of the property. It's not a real long boardwalk, but boardwalks are extremely pricey. But it would just be like a trail connection, and it would really be nice actually to have a boardwalk up there. And then the last piece is camping area. There's a camping area called out, so we could do camping at the park and everything that goes along with it. So that's the list of all the various projects. We can tackle this however we'd like. If there's things we already know are kind of needs and wants, we could just label those as ones now, or we could just do them one at a time and just have discussion over each one.
Do we, as we approach this, do we need to do phase 1 first, phase 2, or the overlap? Is all phase 2 coming after phase 1, or is that why they're phased, or is it?
That's how they're phased in the master plan.
Okay.
So,
But if we said something on phase 2 is a 1 and something on phase 1 is a 1, then they both move, sort of reset the priority list.
So we'll be giving that exact feedback, so then we can, same way they did with the passive side of MCPP, it rephased it. They actually moved things around and said, we want this first. We were not really, so that's exactly the recommendation we'd be giving.
Gotcha.
And I guess the other side is that if we say, hey, we need to do the parking lot, does it make sense to update the resurface and expand it at the same time? Is there a cost savings to do both of those and make
That's a
the,
perfect example of a note we can put in there that can have a little, I will not try to type in front of you this evening, but we can take all of the feedback and put in there per PRAB they'd like to know from Public Works or something, if that would be an opportunity to do together and have a cost savings, and then they'd both be this number. But if there's no cost savings, then maybe you have a different prioritization.
And that also might hinge upon, what you'd like to see out there. There might not be a need for expanding the parking if PRAB and council choose not to do the playground and the nature center and the overlook, and the maybe the vision of this park is, let's keep it kind of natural the way it is now and just keep up with it. Or if we start hitting a lot of these elements, the expanded parking would then come into play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Wow, there's a lot to handle. And a question, I've got a couple ideas about the green, but I want to go back to dredging. So the lake is half owned by the city and half owned by some private landowners.
That's probably, it's a lot less percentage on the city than that.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
So
slope.
does it make, the reason I'm bringing it up is does it make sense to dredge our portion of the lake if they're not fixing their portion? Is it really going to improve the recreation?
The master plan doesn't, I went through the master plan too, and it just said, dredge.
Dredge, right. If our piece is really small, that
changes that?
may change that priority. I'm just talking out loud around things that I know that are in there. In the performance green, I can't remember, Tom. That's me. Do we have any idea how many maximum seating might be in that kind of space, to kind of put it in a context of how many people might ever use it? It's a different number if it's 250 versus 50.
It's more of a lawn.
Yeah, but
I'm
with you. But I mean, this green is a lawn and it holds a lot of people.
It's larger than that, I would say. Hold on. I'll actually pull some square
I
footage.
haven't crawled down in there to know size, and Stephanie and Morgan weren't around in the original plans, but there were some really neat ideas about.
That would be.
Kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Instead of
one
just
thing-
Then the
pouring.
parking can't
And then
really
one,
support
and we
more
have,
than.
yeah, and one thing we should keep in mind too is we're prioritizing these things versus other parks and other projects we have going on too. So keep that in mind as we're, sure, we might like to see all these things in 1 to 3 years.
Well, so
but,
that's part of the.
there's other parks and other
So that's part
needs
of the
on the active
difficulty for
side.
Bernadette is we're evaluating Providence Park in a silo, and then there's another reshuffle once we get all the ones. for
Mhm.
each project compared to the ones across all projects.
Right, and that's exactly kind of what the goal is to do with council, is to kind of get their first layer of feedback,
Yep.
because it's hard to see this in a silo. It's exactly right. Then come back before
Yep.
them on May 8th
Yep.
with the whole plan, and
Yep.
then seeing, here's what dollars would be freed up if we did. So that's why that yellow is going to be big for them, to like,
Yep.
they have a hold opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah.
say, like,
Yeah,
we'd like to
no,
see
I
this in context of other things.
Because that's one of the difficulties of you have to prioritize it in a silo because you can't evaluate the money spent here against money spent on another park. It's just,
Yeah.
kind of go, what do I want to do with this park? That's kind of our focus for this. If you believe the vision that was in the original plan, prioritize off this.
I would estimate the quarry at a little under an acre, probably. An acre-ish.
An acre, okay,
So you can get a lot of people there.
yeah.
So is there anything that steps that comes out that seems like a 1 or a 3? Because we can go to the 2s after.
That's
Yep.
exactly, I was thinking the same line.
I would throw out
Camp-
there that the all-inclusive playground would be low priority in that area for me, given that the parking is kind of tight already there. And the accessibility to a playground, given where it might actually be difficult.
You're not parking next to it.
You're not parking right next to the
Yeah.
playground, yeah.
Right.
And I would say camping would be low for me. I think that
Mm.
opens a lot of doors for, or a lot of
I was thinking the same
administrative
thing.
burden, that maybe that we don't want to get to.
Well, going back to the original conversations that we had, I remember this being a big deal about the walking park. And then the green that we were talking about. So
Yeah.
I think that
Yep.
we definitely have to look at that dam repair. That was number 1. That's what you were talking about, that you can't even do anything down there unless you take picture of the, yeah.
So if you're gonna go down the path, you gotta start at the top.
Mhm.
So I just heard one thing, unless there's disagreement, I heard camping area is a 3. right?
I did, yeah.
I agree.
Already kind of bundle that together. Dam repair would be a 1, because that's
Yeah.
Mhm.
kind of leading down the.
What did we decide on that dredge lake? Can we come back to that?
I'm kind of surprised that in the scope of work for the dam repair, that dredging the lake is not part of that.
Yeah, but dam repair is really not a dam. Are you talking about actually repairing the dam? You're talking about up high where a creek is overflowing. That's dam repair. It's
Oh.
not a dam to the.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
was like,
to the
okay.
lake.
Hmm.
It's a tributary.
got it.
That
Okay.
went awry, so the repair is to reroute that water.
Yes.
It's not a big freestanding dam.
So the next
Jason made a
question-
good point about the parking. Are we going to put that off to the side as a conversation happens first?
I think if we're gonna expand this park and use it, then.
No, I mean, he's brought up the good point about the resurface / parking
I
area.
make a note, I think your comment was spot on, that if you
Yeah.
can do both cheaper than doing them sequentially, then not gonna.
Yeah, and with less
Do it
hassle,
once.
right? Do it once
once.
instead
Yeah.
of
So can I
several
ask a
times.
follow-up question?
Yeah.
From my understanding, what would be the items that if we were doing would need expanded parking, or does it already need it today?
Good question.
As of today, I don't think there's any parking issues really at all. But as we start expanding the park, we might start encroaching on that. I'm sure on some Saturdays, it's probably pretty full.
Yeah.
But
So potentially even the addition of another trail
could
already hit that limit to need the expansion.
I think the parking goes down the idea of a green. If it goes to a trail and it's, individuals using it rather than large groups congregating, then you could move the parking down the list.
Yep.
But if the idea is to move into a green or a amphitheater kind of environment, then you need to have full functioning parking. So they're kind of linked there.
And I have a question, just kind of a follow-up to Stephanie here. The stream alignment and dam repair, that's going to force more water into the lake because it's not going into the quarry?
well, that water ends up in the quarry eventually anyway.
It ends up in the lake eventually.
Or,
from the
yeah, I'm
quarry.
sorry, from the
in-
quarry to the lake.
to the
Thank
lake.
you, Scott.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I just wasn't sure if we needed to do the dredging to do that because now we have more water coming in
It's not gonna.
quicker or,
I'm not a hydrologist, but
but
Yeah.
So are we still on
Okay.
how does the performance screen go into that then? Are we still on a 1 or is that after the fact?
Let's make the comment about the parking, because I think we're all agreed there that if we're going towards a green, so this is a note thing, I think, Bernadette, first. I would make parking 1,
I would too.
both
yeah.
of them, as if they're linked together.
Mhm.
If we're not going to be in a performance green kind of park,
Correct.
then we'd consider splitting them up, but link them together to find something savings over the 2 items individually. That was a good call out. That fixes that one.
And are we saying the performance screen was also a 1, or am I?
No, we hadn't gotten
Okay,
there yet.
okay.
I haven't gotten quite that far, but I think we're heading, I
Yeah.
think we're heading there.
way, yeah.
You know what?
We could probably say that the overlook is a 2 because we can wait on that and see. Is that something we can wait on, Tom?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like,
I mean, so if you're going to have this, nah, but if you're going to have this real pretty performance area and you're looking up at a chain link fence,
I'm talking about as they
That's
set
not
up the
what I wanna
time frame
see.
of when they're doing things. Is it
Right.
something that can be done the 3 years or the 4 years, or does it have to be, would it be something you'd want to do as in the 1 while you're doing the green?
Oh, it could be done. I don't think they're really too linked together.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
not necessarily linked. I agree with that around.
So would the fence be like a 8-foot equestrian?
Something more in the Milton theme. That would be a community development, probably more of their side of the questions than me, but not chain link.
Yeah, anything but what's there today. You know, in a big picture, I think, because this is going to go up against a lot of other priorities.
Mhm.
So it'd be nice to say the green is number 1, but if you fix the creek and then move the green to number 2, because there's going to be other more pressing things, I suspect.
It
Two.
may be helpful to look at the Milton City Park and Preserve piece. 'Cause those are our really 2 main projects that are probably having competing considerations.
Let's just look at them real quick. I think maybe you're right, Brenda. That way we can be balancing a little bit of the,
I'm not sure.
I almost think we could go through and give some 3s.
One of the things that we were considering, so at this time, we don't have a concept plan for the new active athletic complex. So it's another item that we can make notes on if there are portions of these projects that you believe would be more fitting at another property, either one of the other 2 that we've recently purchased. So you could say the all-inclusive playground, for
Right.
example, might be more fitting at one of those other 2 properties and leave that as a note on these to just remove them from this property, but not lose it altogether as an option for the city.
I would agree with that
So-
100%.
yeah.
The active playground, if memory serves me right, this is the one that has,
didn't, we had a pitch about a
we-
donated playground with fundraising towards it.
at
And
MC.
We still
Yeah.
have some consideration for the potential of some matching funds or donated funds.
partnership thing.
And so any of the budget numbers
But-
there would just be reduced by that if we
Yep.
were to receive them.
But there was always a question about how far behind the building it could go before it's in the active. It leaves the passive space or active. Is that not an issue?
No, I don't believe that the Park and Preserve is the place for that.
And we have
Yeah,
on
I
this
mean,
one,
because-
I think
we've already
council-
received some feedback.
Council already weighed in on that. It's not going to be the location, but another potential location that has not been identified yet could be.
Okay.
So we could say the all-inclusive playground
For here.
is maybe a 3 for this location, but not necessarily something
Three.
that this
correct.
board doesn't
Fair.
want somewhere else.
That's a great way to put it.
Good,
Yep.
yeah.
I think that's better served at a more active park.
Yep. I like that. Okay, we're getting there.
What did you mean by natural surface trails more?
Like what's out there now.
What's out there now? And
Yeah,
you're-
all the other trails outside.
This
the-
is just more trails or
Sure.
improvements?
both more the trail in the master plan. It's mapped in a different
Okay.
location, but it would
Yeah.
just expand the trails out there essentially because you would
Mhm.
do. You would
You want
look.
me
You
to pull
would
that rendering back up? Would that be helpful?
good. Yeah.
Those are all of these additional trails, Tom?
Yeah, and that gray one is I forget the color they call it out there, but it's the lower trail. It goes down around, all the way down to the lake.
And it
So
looks
yeah,
like
there's a lot of natural trail, and the upper half is the modestly ADA
You
compliant.
can see, and you can see the wetland,
Yep.
boardwalk.
the boardwalk up there.
So the boardwalk, Tom, is this entire, you said it was a little one, but this, in the budget that or being priced out, is this big kind of loop that
And
goes
then
over
there's
the
a
lake?
little, and then at the bottom, there's that little flat
Yep.
area there. Yeah.
So it's like a upside down J.
Yeah. And this, it's 1.12 miles.
Got it.
Boardwalk
0.12.
is?
That
That whole
thing,
thing is 1.12?
0.12, 0.12.
the short little stretch or the J?
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Oh, it's hard to
You include, not
Thing
including
looks a
the
lot
bridge.
bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that makes it any better to see.
Okay, that helps put it in some perspective. I can see the connection. So then I think to your point, Joey, earlier, maybe we got to put trails as a one, because that's really what the park's about right now.
Right.
The natural surface trails,
I would agree.
that's easy.
I love the boardwalk.
Boardwalk would add a lot to it. It's a small amount of space for a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Is-
Which is, once you get comparing $900,000 here versus $900,000 another, I might
Make it a 2.
mark it, maybe we mark it as a 1 with consideration for how you evaluate in the other bigger pie. It's important to this park, but for $900,000, money might go further on other projects that we're not looking at yet.
That's an easy distinction to make, that we'd really like to see it, but not above some other things as we kind of go.
Yeah,
through.
so maybe,
So maybe it's a 2, or is it, 1?
because it really completes that loop.
It
if-
does. It
if
makes it
it's-
nice. It does a lot for the
I
park.
love those at Fowler Park.
Yep,
Is that a fair statement for consideration for funding at other sites?
yep, or against funding at other sites, yeah. Or versus funding something, but I think you got it, the idea.
Is there any scenario where they just do that, this short little portion and not make it a whole loop? I mean, that would,
Just like the connection bridge that it is.
just a small little one, meaning not to go out into the
Yeah.
water, because you could still kind of at least complete that connect the trails there.
Yep,
And
And it would give you a little bit.
Maybe have the
spend less
over
money.
the water, you call it a 2, and then maybe want to connect the
the
trail.
connect is a 1 and the over the water is farther down,
Mhm.
yeah. I like that
I
idea,
like that
that's a good
idea.
one, Morgan. Decision by committee here. We're
Did we say,
getting
we
this
said
done.
green was 1, didn't we?
We didn't really say it yet,
Oh.
but
You know, the thing about the fence is this, it's kind of interesting. It adds no value, but it is the first thing you see.
correct.
And what I mean by value is the kids aren't, it's not something they're, no one's using, it's not using the fence, but you certainly see it.
I just
So
worry
that's
about
an
climbing.
interesting,
Really climb a chain
So
link.
so I suspect what you end up is a 4x fence with some kind of chicken wire, so it's solid, it's not just open air, crawl through it and have a risk. Somebody's gonna risk mitigate.
Yeah, we
What?
have the same considerations for pools. They have to do the mesh wiring on
Yeah,
a certain
something.
side to protect.
But I
from
can
being
see
able
the
to get in
city
pool.
leaders wanting it to look pretty, not like it's a dumps fencing.
right.
Right.
Neighbor with that on my pool.
So, I think, either, anywhere we go, I think you gotta work on the fence eventually. I would make that a 1. It's also a modest item.
Yeah.
Unless anybody's got
Yeah.
a different opinion. Cause it's an eyesore in this nice park. Now we're down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, to me, the nature center, I don't know that, I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it fits into what we're trying to do at the park.
Mhm.
And so that to me is a 3. I think.
So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I could make it a 2. Could we use another building that has room in it that we could do something with? It would be like the Bethwell Center when we get it back from the fire department. It'd be like, it's a couple of rooms.
It would be a recreational space for us to do. It wouldn't have to necessarily always be a nature theme. If we
Right.
needed more space for something,
Right.
we'd have another overflow.
But could it be big enough to really, drive our needs? I might move that to a 2 and worry about how it stacks up later.
It's 6,500 square feet in the master plan.
It's as big as a house. And then
It's
some.
a big house.
Yeah.
Imagine, the community center at Milton City Park and Preserve, it's 7,000, 7,500. So
Yep.
I'd say it's a 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I'm okay
in
with
between
a
a 2
2.
and 3. I don't really, I have no real strong
Again, I
feeling.
mean, nature centers exist around town and amphitheaters with entertainment inside of them don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
So in my mind,
Well,
always.
we could, do since 2
doing
is
something
4 to
in
8
that.
years, we could put a 2 here and come
Yeah,
back.
come back. I
Yeah.
agree.
The performance screen, I think would really be, I think it could be used, so you could have all kinds of events there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's big enough that you could
The
probably.
thing with
even
the
do some of
performance screen is it
festivals.
was what we kind of talked about when this whole thing got started. Was it really,
Because it really looked cool.
yeah.
Like it was really a cool,
Yep.
it would be something unique.
Very unique.
So how, is that like turf down there? And like a
master plan calls for grass, but yeah, you could turf
complex
it.
drainage system? Because it's a big hole. Okay.
What does that cost change by if you turf it?
I'm sorry.
Would that cost change if you turfed instead of did grass?
Oh, yeah.
So
It would increase
if- if-
tremendously.
If we do go with
Grass
that
is
route.
not
Yep.
going to grow
Turf
down
would-
there.
Can we
Turf
put
would
some
go
lines
up.
on it?
Well, you would, what's that?
Can we put some
It
lines
gets a
on
lot
it?
of, it gets a lot of sun down there. I would get some sun.
You said something about clearing trees. Would that be part of this project?
Up around the top.
Is that part of the
Well, the
estimate?
whole inside of the quarry
And
is
the
full
inside
of
full of
trees.
trees, yeah.
Yeah, it's its own ecosystem down there now.
Yep.
So that's
a little
that's
forest.
part of the estimate
Yeah,
then? Yeah.
It is.
So maybe the performance screen's a 1 and the open air overlook is a 2. And
Yeah.
I
and
agree with
you
that.
Yeah.
get the first thing built before you worry about looking at it. And then wetlands improvements and dredging. Ugh.
The dredging really, to me, only makes sense if the private portion is going to be
Correct.
also
If
addressed.
they
Well, you just showed the picture. Was that brown line our part?
No,
No,
that's the
that's the
boardwalk.
boardwalk.
Okay.
But it's not that far out there. I remember.
Is that's the end of our part, Tom? Or no?
Yes, that would be.
So
It's not bad.
I wonder if Cooper Sandy has that in their budget to dredge that lake. I don't know. I'm just thinking money.
Maybe you make it a 2 and go explore the Cooper Sandy folks and find out, start the discussion, and you got time to talk through it. I mean, would it be nice to have a dock down there where you rented boats and people went out on the water? That's where the dredging's kind of leading and fishing and all that, but
Mhm.
It'd be awesome.
that'd be,
Tom, what is wetland improvements more directly? Or what does that define?
That was the along the edge of the pond or the
Mhm.
lake, and adding more proper vegetation
Yeah.
for it.
dress it up a little bit. For it's a small amount of money, I'd do it up front, get it, make it
Done.
look pretty. If it was me.
Sure, we did a great job. We put a lot of ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Got a
that's,
couple
we're
threes in there. Got a couple threes in there to balance it
we're
out.
just an advisory group.
They're gonna do what they
I do have one question though. How much was that bathroom we just did? And you're doing a whole building for 1.2?
Yeah.
Wasn't that bathroom 1.2
No,
No.
originally?
originally
One version of it.
1.4 almost. Yeah.
Version with the solar, whatever the roof, the natural roof and all that stuff.
So what do we want to put, last box, wetland? 1 or a 2, it can't be a 3.
1.
Okay, 1.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with 1?
Yeah. we're
Okay, good, then that,
Yep.
knock out Providence Park.
Moving on to the little bit more difficult one.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought we were
Maybe,
done.
maybe not. We'll see.
I say all ones. I gotta go. See you guys later.
Trying to make this all fit on one screen for you.
Same time.
Okay, so in this project, just really quickly, we separated out between that initial expansion, the final expansion, and then certain staff identified considerations that have already been discussed in certain meetings. One being that probably not, again, this place for the inclusive park, but pricing for a smaller playground out there. And then the blue here, you'll just note that they are items that the master plan did not call out specific pricing for, so Tom's done the best he can to get some estimates for that. Those with 1 asterisk, we have potential grant funding. coming along for the tennis courts, the viewing deck, and then the additions for the shaded area over the viewing deck. And then based on community feedback and also council feedback, that's the recommendation about the inclusive playground.
Gotcha.
So if you want, we can do the same note here with a 3 for alternate location.
Yep.
If that's okay with the board.
Yep.
Yes.
That starts. That's easy start.
All right, I will, I think this plan's a little more fresh and it's a little more self-explanatory too, but I'll go through the list just to give some clarity. The first one is the reconfiguration of the building. There is, in the next phase of the plan, a covered awning that goes off the back of the building. And it's rather substantial. I did go in front of, I had a public input meeting this week out at the facility to discuss some potential, some of these actual components of this master plan for this grant that we're seeking to possibly apply for. That covered area out back was actually extremely supported by the neighbors out there. All of them thought it would be great to have an additional shaded area out back. The 2 additional and that also has a little bit of reconfiguration of the inside of the building. That was obviously just redone. So the 2 additional tennis courts, that is certainly a need out there.
We could
Our
put
our tennis program.
We could put one on it right now. and move
Yeah.
on.
Okay, all right. Say no more.
That'll
Thank you.
make Terry happy.
It's kind of where I was getting at.
Yeah.
In the master plan, it has a tennis viewing deck. That's your typical wooden deck out there for your spectators to watch. And
Put
you
another
get-
one on that one.
Yep. And the event lawn is out back. I have already essentially done that. When the putting green, the practice green kind of dried up and died out, I replaced it immediately with some Bermuda or soon after. So the way that it's depicted in the plan, that's rather complete already.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? Sand volleyball courts. They're on the southwest side in the plan. Just a 2-court little setup there. Bioswale behind the building. I will say that I have spoken with Public Works, and the way that the drainage is currently, there might not be a need for that bioswale. Just a little heads up, but that would catch a lot of the water and flow it all the way into the passive side, basically, almost.
Right.
Pretty deep into that active area. And then enhanced landscaping, it's just beautification, specifically more on the backside.
Yep.
But all around. And then concept C, that's the final expansion piece of the master plan, calls for an outdoor fireplace out back. The patio being kind of grown out and beautified around the corners of it, essentially. The water slide addition to the pool. And we can pull up the map once we're done with all this. And then the vent lawn getting some improved beautification as well. That's kind of tied in with that back patio, and you'll see it in the image. And then again, more enhanced landscaping. And then I've identified a couple of things. The parking lot is in need of resurfacing already, and if we're going to be reconfiguring and doing asphalt work on the tennis courts, it makes sense to go ahead and do the parking lot while we're out there doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And adding lighting out in the parking lot. If you go out there at night, it's rather dark.
Yep.
And then in lieu of a very large inclusive playground, I thought something small, potentially nature themed or something to kind of tie in with the passive side.
Yep.
Just for, we have a lot of programming going on out there. Like this summer, we're going to have our first summer camp, and it's great to have another activity to do for programs.
Yep.
Especially if you've got little kids, even an art program. All right, 20 minutes of art. Let's go outside and go play on the jungle gym, and then we'll come back in and do a little more art, right? So it's a great feature to have. And for those with issues with mulch in the pool, it only makes sense when there's a pool around. We'll do a pour in place surface, so we don't have to worry about mulch or any debris getting into the pool or the pool area.
Okay.
Have you had any issues with the neighbors that back into that parking lot, either in Wood Valley or the house that's next to the far end, next to the pool, in regards to like maybe car lights or the way the fencing is or anything like that?
Recently, no, not
No.
not particularly.
The only reason I say it is if we're going to do any improvements, is there anything that, just as long as we're not tearing down trees, the next thing you know, we're looking into somebody's, kitchen or.
Sure. So this master plan was, adopted by council. It had it already had public input.
Yeah.
So what we have here has already been approved essentially.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not really shying away as far as layout goes generally from this plan at all. So the tennis court setbacks off the property line, I don't foresee changing much at all.
Yeah.
And no, I have the only complaints I get about lights is when the light timer out there goops
Goes
up,
out.
and then kids go out there in the middle of the night and play tennis or turn the lights on as a prank and then leave. I don't know what they're doing, but
You've probably got some pretty good distance on this side in Wood Valley. I was just concerned about that one house that's also over here near the pool.
I have never gotten any.
No.
And in fact, I met that homeowner for the first time
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if there's no complaints, sure.
Okay, let's go back to the list and we'll count our onesie twosies.
Well, you know where you can put the one.
Yeah, so the 2 additional tennis courts and the viewing deck, Bernadette, those are ones. They are long.
And did
long.
that include the pickleball? I know we talked about that. One of the 2 of those courts, we're going to have some pickleball or lines. Is that?
that was
My memory,
that
right?
was definitely discussed in that public meeting this week. There was no support for pickleball.
Really?
But that's part of the concept of, yeah, got it. Okay, I'm with you on there.
Would the shade structure over the viewing deck also be a 1, or would that be something that could come later?
I think you put it in there. Yeah, what's fixed tennis? It's been a long time. Everybody okay on that?
Mm-hmm.
We took care of the playground, the bioswale. If you tell me that it may or may not be needed, that could be a 3. If
Yes.
that's what your input was, Tom, so that could be a 3.
3 with a note. Do you need to put a note on it?
That's a good idea.
Assuming, yeah, only if it's not. Yeah, thank you, Bernadette.
If it was required, a 1 or a 2?
I think it would have to be a
I
one.
I would think it would be a
So
1.
if there
It
was a-
would have to be a one because
Yeah.
it would catch. I think it was intent was to catch parking lot water. So
Right.
if it needs to be there, then it would.
Make that
Maybe that's the recommendation from PRAB. If it's needed, it's needed.
Yeah, it's build it,
Yeah.
right. Reconfiguring the back. So now we're into, an awning and a larger back patio. Those are kind of going along together. These high priority items are 1 to 3 years. So Terry gets new courts and shaded viewing decks. Maybe you put reconfiguring and building the back patio to a 2 second phase item, or after the tennis courts get done.
I would agree with that.
So that would be that one, and then the reconfiguration of the community center. Unless you come, and maybe a note is, unless you come back to me, Tom, and say, we need something inside the building that just isn't there.
No, we don't.
Then, okay.
The only other thought to that, though, is potentially those tennis courts are going to come with a fund or like a grant. So if
Could
that
be, yeah.
money isn't really needed, could you bump up the community center reconfiguration?
Or take the savings and spend it somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
The
It's
playground.
It's a big bowl of jello that
It
we're
is.
moving around. How do we feel about sand volleyball courts? Any huge volleyball fans in the sand here?
Hello?
Yeah, I think
That
a
was
2.
discussed this week too.
Was it? Probably didn't get a high I'm sorry, I missed the meeting.
Yeah.
Different problem. They're not fans.
Yeah, it was.
Of course not. It's not, yeah. I might make it a 2.
It wasn't because of noise or anything. It was just the demand.
The one thing about you could make it a 2 because if you did have them, you increase the opportunity for somebody to have a party there and they possibly use it. I don't know. That's why I'm saying 2, because then we could change our minds later.
Yeah, I
There really aren't sand volleyball courts
Anywhere?
available.
No.
There's one near Wills Park over in Alpharetta,
Right.
and they charge a pretty penny. So you could make
Private.
it as a, you could,
2 courts isn't going to make a league,
Yeah, no.
right? Or maybe it does.
Then you
That one
might be
over-
bringing sand into a pool.
Yeah, I know. I might make it a 2 and reevaluate
Yeah,
down the road. I wouldn't want it to go away. It was in the big plan, and perhaps once we get the place cleaned up, jazzed up, then it might change our focus with it. Talk to me about an outside fireplace. We have one in the Broadwell Pavilion, an outdoor fireplace. We never use it, or very rarely, because I know another private/public, not city, but facilities. I'm a fan of an outdoor wood burning fireplace, but it's hard to get people behind that idea because there's so much risk associated, at least perceived as associated with it. Build it and use it twice a year. I mean, how often does the Broadwell Pavilion get lit up? Less than 6?
Christmas tree lighting?
Nope.
No, doesn't get it for that either.
I don't.
You need
think
a
it- I don't
city
even
fire
think it
tender.
gets fired up annually.
I'd say 3.
Not since I've been here.
Yeah.
seems more practical to get just like propane or gas, like little.
Is that, but you're considering it as a wood burning fireplace? Because I mean, it would fit perfect at a country club, but this isn't a country club anymore. It's a city park. So
Yeah.
the idea of an outdoor wood burning fireplace in City Park is probably not.
well, does the
city
park, is the
sponsored
park going to
marshmallow
close at a
roast.
certain time? Does
Sorry.
the park close at a certain time?
Sure it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
10 o'clock.
at 10 o'clock's when I want to start my fire.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty
Cheaper
inexpensive.
fire features could be added than building
Sure.
an outdoor
Yes.
fireplace.
Yeah.
I think we
That
could
was
make
my
this a
thought.
3.
I would agree.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on what we
Right.
were evaluating. Let's talk about the slide.
Well, is this a slide in addition to other things too? Okay,
Yeah, it's an addition.
yeah,
Everything stays and there's an extension built off the back
Built off.
yeah.
that has a slide and a little landing pool.
Because, yeah, you need a landing pool.
And this doesn't hurt their,
and a
this doesn't
little-
hurt the swim teams at all, right? Doesn't get in the way, there's nothing there, okay.
It would be in addition to the pool to have a landing area as almost standalone or
Yeah.
contiguous, but not part of the lanes.
Right.
Yep, got you.
Well,
Is there a lot of
what's
demand
the,
for
what's
for
the
slide or
attendance?
just in the plan? Nobody talked about that Tuesday night or Wednesday night. I might make it a 2 and reevaluate.
I would agree. I think
I
that,
don't want to say no to pool improvements because the pool's well used, but
and the thing is I think it would be, make it even more well used, right? Or, you'd attract more people.
yep, you might.
Especially, when my kids were younger,
Yeah.
like they went on that pool slide
Oh,
hundreds of times.
Oh, correct.
Saturday.
right.
Yeah.
You're
Yes,
not
the
done
white
yet?
columns, all the kids are at
I was
the
gonna say, my only
slide.
hesitation is though, we already know that we're pretty tight at the pool, correct? Like the memberships last year, have they gone really high?
It grew, but we have plenty of
Still
capacity. We
space.
still have
Okay,
plenty of
okay.
capacity. It's the swim team that we don't really have any more capacity
Got it.
for.
Correct.
Okay.
If I heard you right, the parking lot and lighting has got to get moved up high.
And I would say the playground, I think it's,
I would guess
at a
if you're
facility
doing-
like that, a playground.
So I'd make parking lot a 1 time. It might, could you do this? Could you take the playground and some of the enhanced landscaping and roll those together? If you're focused on the back of the building, and then maybe you can do something that they bleed over each other.
Right.
Put some nice
It's just
flowers
it's
next to
just
it.
general landscaping
Yeah,
improvements.
no, because
but
it's old.
So, hey, we're going to add some more things. It's
Yeah.
going to cost you about this much.
Right. If you're gonna do stuff you'd want to do in the parking lot, you'd want to do the playground before you get doing the landscaping
Mm-hmm.
because you want to get access back there.
The nice thing about the event, the small playground though, is if anyone's doing tennis and you've
Yeah.
got kids waiting.
I'd make it a 1
Yeah.
and consider how you can link the enhanced landscaping to the playground and the overall part of the building.
But I
Because
even
you're,
think you
you're at 80 and 60 and 50, so that's $190,000.
Well, Bernadette, there's one on phase concept B and C both have enhanced landscaping.
Oh,
They just keep, every time you add something, you add more landscaping too.
so this would be
That's
phase-
how it is in the plan.
Phase one
Oh.
landscaping.
So is it really
So
just
you-
one?
so
Is
you
it really just
probably-
one line item? Is that what you're
So
saying?
you do row 10 as a 1 and then row 17 as maybe a 2 if you want to do it down the road with and pair it with some other
Oh,
improvement.
farther. Yeah, I got it. That makes sense. Yep. That makes a lot of good sense. That's 2. And then
Event lawn.
Oops, did
No.
I- this one's a 2. Sorry, I'm getting there.
we got event.
And then on, if you go down Bernadette, you just have concept A, it would be B.
Oh, sorry. I thought you
There
were,
you are.
B, sorry.
apologize.
And then the event law, since it's kind of partially already
Well, am I
there
making that a
and you're going to
2?
build a playground and you got a lawn around it, you could put it as a 2 and reevaluate
Mm-hmm.
Can I back up
what,
for a
what
second?
really needs to get done back there.
Or you could do
No,
the initial,
Bernadette, I
you
think
could
we're
do the
leaving it as a
initial,
1, but then the 2 would be that the landscaping would come after the.
Thank you.
what you could do, members of the board, is for the event lawn and concept B, you could do 3 potentially because it's already kind of been done.
Kinda
And then,
done,
and then
right.
if you want to do improved event lawn down where Bernadette has the cursor now, you could do that as a 2 or something.
That makes
and,
sense.
and it could be also reevaluated,
Yeah, I think that
'Cause we
first
need-
one
we-
was going to be a 3.
because we need a
Bernadette.
lawn and we need a
Line
staging
6.
area for the swim
A
team.
3.
No, the next,
Oh,
yeah, that one.
okay.
There you go. Wow, that was not as painful as I thought it was going to be.
I thought this one would go faster.
Then This
Yeah.
will help us because now what we'll do is from the budgetary perspective, between this feedback and what council gives us, we can put it into the 7-year plan and see
Yep.
with everything else the city's
Right.
needs are, if this is possible. And if we do
Yep.
have to potentially move a few things a little further out or potentially be able to move a few things a little further up if we get
Yep.
things like grants and such.
Yep. Awesome.
Really appreciate everyone's time tonight.
No, thank you for
We've got,
bringing it
and,
to
and
us.
we've got a lot of
That's-
projects
That
coming.
was
You know,
a
we got,
lot of.
we got a new,
So some of you remember me mentioning these projects that were in the budget book, and these are 2 of them that were in the 7 in the back pages of the budget book, and I didn't think that we were going to get to talk about them soon enough, and so here we are today.
I appreciate
Set-
everyone
I
looking
wish
at the
Phil was
budget
here.
book.
Setting priorities. Yeah.
Bill was excited about this.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you, Bernadette.
Yes.
I'm
Bernadette.
just excited someone's looking at the budget book.
Okay. Next item is 8C, discussion on starting community meetup groups at parks.
I'm going to call Miss Burke up to the lectern here. This was her creation.
So I started working for Milton in September of last year, and then I moved to Milton in July of last year. And before that, I lived in Kansas City, and I was a stay-at-home mom for 11 years. And I feel like when people talk about like vulnerable sections of the population that are lonely and depressed, and the community needs to take care of them and create activities for them, I feel people automatically think of like senior citizens, but
Packed agenda today.
Mhm.
Was that before?
But I feel like stay-at-home parents also go through the same sort of like isolation and loneliness and depression too. And so I was thinking after I started working here, well, what could we do for them that wouldn't be like a financial impact on the city, both like materials or payroll wise? And so I was thinking we could do things like just random examples, like put something in the activity guide, like every Tuesday from 9 to 11, meet at Bell Memorial Park, you know, at the playground. And so it wouldn't require anything from us. No staff member would need to show up. You could do things like, I was talking to Matthew about maybe program providers doing like a mom's night out once a month. Like one night you can sign up with the program provider to do like a charcuterie board making class, or like the next December you could do cookie decorating or something like that. We can do things like a book club, all that would need is like us to put a date, time, location in the activity guide, pick a book to get it started. Maybe a staff member shows up to the first one, and then after that, you wouldn't really need us to do anything. Also, like a craft night, like the Milton Library has a really popular like crochet circle type thing. That's something that also wouldn't really need like staff babysitting. So just some examples. I just wanted to throw that out for people to think about.
I love that idea. Great.
Oh, well, yeah, I will. No, well, like I will say, it was funny because last week there was a article from the town that I was born and raised at, like around Savannah, and a mom whose husband was in the military around Savannah was trying to find stuff to do. And what they did is they went to a local park and they would have, and it was funny because like she brought this up last week and I saw the article like literally the day before. And I actually showed her the article with the video and everything. And what they do is just like every week they meet there, like they actually go to the park and they do certain activities. Like if it's like a book or if it's like ice cream or something, like they do certain activities for the kids who are not in school that are not old enough. So I feel like I definitely think that's a good idea because every time I go to Bell Park, especially during the day, there are some kids who are at the playground and they're either it's their mom or dad that are there. So I feel like it could possibly be a great idea.
Also, at Citizens Government Academy, this lady named Monica Gibbs, I think, said she would love to see something like that. She would love to volunteer for us. Her friends would love to volunteer if we wanted to get things started. So I figured maybe try something easy things, dip her toe into something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially if you have folks that essentially want to volunteer to lead it, right? And to be the person there that says, hey, it's a mommy and me meet up at Bell Park at 10:30 on Tuesdays, and you have somebody there that's at least, so they're not all looking around at each other. A greeter and hey, this is what we were thinking of doing today, right?
Love it.
Anything to get away from these.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
You need a motion from us, Tom? Is that what you want?
Yeah, we could get a recommendation to move forward.
Then
with it if
let's,
you'd like.
let's entertain
Or
a
at least,
motion.
at least start, searching,
Yeah.
see if we can get something going.
I motion that we can continue the discussion about the meetups for the community.
Okay, a motion by Morgan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Good luck.
Thank you,
Uh, Item D under new business, last item, discussion of new program provider workshops with the PRAB. Mr. McElveen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I can't remember where this idea spurred from, but the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. Every year, it's usually around the February meeting, we bring all the programs in and we have this really long drawn out, and we bring everyone in so they can talk for 5 minutes. And then the idea came about of what if we had a section of our meeting, potentially all of them, where we brought in, I don't know, depending on the numbers we have, one to three programs, and we kind of workshop them with their, current issues they're dealing with, things that are going well, what's going on, what's your 1 year wish list for things that you might want at the parks, or things that you need from staff in the next year, things you need in the next, we're projecting growth in the next 5 years, we might need this, and it could really help guide staff. And it's also another opportunity for this board to liaison a little bit with our programs, where we don't, there's oftentimes we don't hear from them, the programs. Now staff does. But it's a really powerful tool to have this board communicating with the programs if they're having an issue that's not, I need a field prepped right now. It'd be great to have the liaison from PRAB to listen to them, soak it in, and then maybe, you can call staff and say, hey, I'm hearing this from the program, right? And then you know what's going on to also include your individual council members as well of what's going on. So that was the idea, more of an informal conversation with a couple of programs each meeting,
Right.
or they'd at least be invited. And
So critical part of it, just structurally, right, is it's a workshop. It's not an action meeting. It's engaging back and forth, which typically our presentations are not engaging. So this is the official meeting pauses. We go into a
Right.
workshop and then we go back to our meeting.
and there's not necessarily motions or anything.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
it's just a free flowing
That's right.
discussion
That's right.
that happens this way. And I think it'd be I think it'd be good for the partners to move their game up a little bit, interaction with the city, and to your point, help with the planning thoughts.
Yeah, I see it from a staff's perspective as very beneficial on, not, hey, Tom,
Yeah.
I need 2 fields right now.
Right.
If we can plan ahead in those, 2 to 5 years, hey, look, we're starting to fill up our fields again, we're, as we all know, where there's some active action brewing. But, depending on what happens in this community, who knows,
Yep.
and then there's other demands that we have too with some other programs that, this potential park might not fill.
Right.
So knowing what that is would be terrific. Not that staff doesn't have a sense for what the needs are, but it'd be nice to hear it from the programs as well in a formal setting such as this.
Are you wanting to do all programs at the same time or split them up or?
We're proposing having just a couple each meeting. So
Right,
it would
right.
be a section, almost like our subcommittee reports that we have.
Yeah.
It would be a section of our meeting where we'd have.
Okay.
It might even replace it. It might replace it. We move this workshop to the early in the meeting so that they don't have to stay to the
Yep.
whole meeting. And then it's a whole interactive staff talks, we talk,
Right.
and then
Love it.
Right.
And so instead of
idea.
10, it's 1 or 2 at a time, and we figure out the right way to work it around your schedule. So it's not inviting people to be here on their middle of their season,
Right.
right? You
Yep.
figure out how to adjust it a little bit that way, and it just creates more communication. I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And we could send to them, you could send to them, not we, 3 or 4 or 5 bullets of here's things to think about
Yes.
to bring for discussion. So they just don't come and go, what do I need to do? Well, I want to know what equipment do you need for the next year, and go down the list.
Yep.
Right. So
I agree.
that's awesome.
So I propose that maybe staff comes back next month with a structure and timeline for maybe the remainder of this year.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I like it.
that'll be something we can get a motion on. So we'll
Awesome.
table it.
Yeah.
Sound fair?
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I like it.
Table that one for now, and Real bring us back a plan. Okay, last item is staff reports.
All right, Mr. Chairman. First up, we've got community outreach update. Emily is not in attendance tonight, but we have the farmers market starting up this weekend out at the plaza. The last I checked, the weather was looking better than it was earlier this week anyway. So we're hoping to get some attendance for this first one on the Saturday. I'm going to try to swing by and say hello. I know Emily will be here to, at the very least, kick it off. Meet the Neighbors was last weekend. It was wildly successful. I've heard so many different estimate for attendance, but somewhere in the 400 to 600 range probably is pretty accurate, which is much higher than the last Meet the Neighbors was.
Yep.
And we are rolling into Memorial Day coming up, and then 4th of July, and so we're keeping the community events pretty busy, and we're going to start planning that touch a truck too that we talked about in the
Excellent.
I think it was the last meeting.
Yep.
So Emily's got her hands full, and yeah, I think that covers just about everything.
And the Birmingham, Tom, the Birmingham Park cleanup day got rained out previously, but it was moved to May 6th. So Emily was able to reschedule that. So
May 6th, yes.
it won't go by the wayside because we always like to take advantage of those cleanup days.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Thomas.
All right, next is the Park Trail Wayfinding update. This is the opportunity for me to introduce y'all in person to Miss Jen Young. She is awesome. she brings a lot of really Parks and Rec general knowledge. But she also has a lot of experience. She's an avid hiker. Every time on Monday I see her, hey, what's up? How was your weekend? A lot of hiking, Tom. A lot of hiking. So she brings a lot of knowledge. She used to run summer camps, and I'll let her introduce herself, of course. But she's really proven already to be a huge asset, and she's hit the ground walking fast with all the passive parks, especially Birmingham is getting a little bit of a facelift. But I'll let her talk about all that.
Board, super excited to be here. Milton has beautiful green space, and I have walked every trail in Birmingham Park in the last 5 weeks. So as of today, I have reconstructed the Birmingham map. So it's not live. GIS has all the information, but we now have a new map that will hopefully be coming out really soon, and I'm very excited for you. The wayfinding update. So part of the wayfinding strategy is, at Lackey, there are wayfinding diamonds, right? Same thing at Providence. We hope to have the same thing in all of the parks. So Birmingham being the one that needed the brand new map in order to even start wayfinding, I'm excited that we have that complete. Any questions, Tom?
Oh, it's
Anything else
awesome.
you want to add?
Did you mention the universal, the signage we're looking to add? Did you already? I zoned out for a moment. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I didn't, because I thought we might have tabled that, but we're looking at universal signage for all the parks. One that fits the Milton look, one that's gonna be useful on the trail. And universal means some parks we might hang diamonds on trees, some parks we might have them on posts. So I want to present some ideas to you guys.
Awesome.
Get your recommendations.
Right.
And and if you're not aware, we're having a placemaking study going on right now, which is essentially city branding.
Mm-hmm.
And when I meet with those consultants, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is how can we incorporate, our internal park signage to kind of fit the theme of everything we're doing out at the entrances to parks and the entrances to buildings and the street signs and everything else. So that's why Jen said it's not going to happen next month,
Right.
but we'll get there.
Good.
And I don't know, maybe this ties in with the community outreach and everything of, once we get this up, of doing take a hike day, right?
Yeah.
And then try to do something across all of our parks and really encourage all the people to go out and explore the Milton parks and do something.
So June, there is a hike week and a hike day, so we could
Yep.
absolutely promote that. In fact, Friday I'm leading a Girl Scout troop out of Birmingham Falls, so we're gonna have Hike with a Ranger Day,
Yep.
which is a made-up title. I gave myself for the kids.
Awesome.
Nobody will know. We won't tell on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about it? Otherwise, you'll see me in the parks a lot. I change outfits quite a bit in the day. So you got a clean outfit.
Well, welcome.
That's
Yeah,
welcome.
thank
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. Welcome.
Yeah, very, very much. Thank you. You want me
Any
to hang
other-
tight for C?
Any other questions on that one?
No?
All right. So on to item C, green space strategy or the green print.
Green print.
The green print update. I don't have much, but I do want to share the one piece that I do know is me and Emily Groth met this week. And before the next meeting, there will be a survey that goes out that touches on, appropriate uses and what you think would be great recreational activities for a passive park at the various green spaces. It'll be a little more in depth than that, but generally speaking, that survey will go out to each PRAB member individually. And then I expect to share the results of what the PRAB comes up with in the
And
next,
it's
in the next
focused
meeting.
for us, just as there is for other
Right. So yeah,
boards.
this board will be
One.
recreation activity based,
Right.
and then the equestrian committee will kind of touch on, horse amenities that would be great to have at the various parks. And then the
Awesome.
trails committee will really dive deeper into, appropriate trail materials and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. I think you're going to have one of the fun surveys because you can come up with the fun things that
Great.
that are appropriate for a green space to use.
Awesome. Thanks. Next, D.
The upcoming Providence Park beautification volunteer project. I'm not sure which one
I'll
of
talk
y'all is
about
better
it.
for it, but I'll give it to Jen.
Yeah, so we have a church group of anywhere between 100 and 120 folks that wanted to do a workday project at Providence. So we came up with a series of projects. One being there's a kiosk repair needed for the roof that's partially damaged. So they'll take that down. Also, that kiosk needs to be painted because it's starting to have wear. So they're going to handle the whole kiosk. Hopefully, if I can find the same roofing materials, they'll just replace what's damaged. If not, they have some skilled folks and it looks like they're going to build a new roof.
Wow.
Also, all the wooden benches out there, they're going to sand them and paint or stain them, as well as work on the metal benches. So they're going to clean those. And it was requested that there be a younger kid activity. So pulling rocks out of a space that needs to be mowed is always an awesome activity. So we'll have them out there from 9 to noon, and they're going to have a cookout as well.
That'll
So
be
it'll
May,
a nice
May
event.
6th as well.
What's that?
May 6th as well, correct?
Yeah, so same day as the Birmingham
Nice. Very cool.
work day. So it'll be a day of work.
Very cool.
I will say I'm a little disappointed that probably the last time those benches were painted was by Cambridge Youth Lacrosse. We did a youth day. We did a youth day out there, and we painted all those benches 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere in there. That was probably the last time they were painted. Long before that park got a facelift.
Wow. Okay, well, thanks, Jen. That'll be exciting to see pictures of. Okay, Tom, last item in staff reports, park project updates.
Yeah, just this might be one of those items that stay on, and I'll just kind of report back with what some of the bigger projects that we've done. Since the last time we met, the tennis shed out at the Park and Preserve. There's a tennis shed that Terry uses for a lot of his equipment. His shed was absolutely falling apart, and when you would open it, it just looked bad, like bad. And so we had that replaced. Matthew did a wonderful job finding a very comparable. In fact, I think it's a little bit bigger of a building, under budget, installed and everything. So
Great.
that's great. And some couple of upcoming projects. We have the water damage from the pipe freeze back in December. We finally got the approval from insurance to move forward with the final remediation repairs. So if you've been to Bell and you've been in the restrooms, especially in the men's room, there's a lot of holes in the wall and whatnot from the plumbers having to gain access to find where the broken pipes were, and the broken sprinkler system pipes. So that's all been approved by insurance, and it's going through council because it's a pretty big bill as a contract. The other thing is, something popped in my head. Upcoming. Oh, I know what it is. Michaela has done a wonderful job. She's taking the lead on getting the pump house at the pool to be matching more with what the building looks like. Because I don't know if you've been out there. The pump house is still the brown shake like the building used to be. So she's been getting estimates as we speak. I think she met someone this morning. I know she met someone this morning out there. And we're also looking to take the interior of that pool pump house and section off and ventilate where the chlorine is held. And so it's in its own storage area inside because it's the chlorine just really does damage to everything in that inside that pump house. So that if you look, we paint that door every year and it rusts every year. So, and that's from the chlorine. So we're looking to kind of have a separate entrance for that side where the chlorine is going to be stored, and then an exhaust fan to kind of blow it out to keep the rest of the components inside that pump house in better shape.
Yep.
And that is all I have for city staff reports and communications, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect. Thanks. Did you have one other item for other business?
I do.
Funny.
And I wrote it down.
Hmm.
This was something that board member Ms. Catula requested that I bring up. There was a young man that participated in on one of our programs who has recently passed unexpectedly, and Ms. Catula is very good friends with someone that would like to donate a bench at Providence Park and have a little plaque on it. The young man lived in the neighborhood adjacent to Providence Park, and from what I've heard, he loved going out and fishing on the pier. Did it all the time apparently. So, I'd like to get council. It's ingrained in my head sometimes. The board's thoughts on potentially, having staff approve a bench for him to go out at Providence Park somewhere, at a staff approved location, of course.
I would support that.
Yeah, and I thought we had at one point some discussions around this so that
We're working right now on a memorial program between us, Parks and Rec, and actually the city arborist, because we get a lot of requests for memorial trees. So we're taking that memorial tree program. It started as a memorial tree program, and then we've kind of diversified it a little bit. So now we're going to have some other memorial options that we could do to choose from. That's more boiler. Hey, you can choose from this or this or this, and it's kind of the standard around other municipalities.
Yep.
Rather than just approving things one off. Okay, you want to do what? Okay, all right. So, but in the meantime, this is kind of a.
I haven't been down to the pier. Is there a bench down at the end of the fishing pier?
There are benches already built into it. They're proposing, from what I remember, and if I'm incorrect, I will clarify at a future time, but around near the pier.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Just like one of those Boy Scout benches or something that fits the Providence feel near the pier.
Right.
Because we've already got benches and everything.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. No issues do you need a motion or are we?
Yeah, let's do. Yeah,
do-
if that's
yeah.
okay, do a motion to recommend or not.
Yeah.
That we do a bench for.
Yeah, I'll make a recommendation or a motion that we, that staff continues to pursue a memorial bench at Providence Park for the young man.
Okay, motion by Jason,
Second.
second by Morgan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. There you go. Any other business for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board today? Anyone?
I have a question for your camp counselors. How many do you need and what ages are you looking for?
16 and up, preferably. How many?
I would
open
say
slots?
like minimum like 4, maybe 4 to 5 at the minimum.
Great job for Henry.
With
Henry's working.
Area though.
We've got the maximum
would
number
need that.
of the new day camp set rather low. I mean, we've already got wait lists growing, as I mentioned earlier, for staffing reasons. So if we can get more staff, we can get kids off the wait list.
Right, right.
So that's kind of the driving
Okay.
force there. So if we can get 6, we could easily have 50 to 60 kids.
Do you need the staff counselor, the camp counselors to be there for every week or, okay.
That's preferred, but could be negotiated.
I
if needed.
know I've asked several students and they've said, yeah, but I'm taking vacation
Yeah.
these weeks.
Well, yeah, well, it happens all the time. Like it happens all the time. Like in my experiences with summer camps, like you're like,
Make it work.
it's hard to have a counselor for all 7, 8
Whole
weeks.
Summer, sure.
Sure.
Totally understand.
Okay, cool.
And they get the 4th of July week off. That we don't host camp on the 4th
Yep.
of July week.
But we
Kind of a
are,
break in the middle for staff.
me and Thomas got an invite this morning to the Cambridge. They're having like a job fair next Thursday. So
Oh, neat.
that's what we'll be on there.
Great. Good.
Yeah,
maybe-
we've hit Innovation Academy and Milton. We'll round it out with Cambridge and
Well, that's awesome.
see what comes of it.
Good. Any other business? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jason,
Second.
second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you all.